Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's complete. Another touchdown!
Cougar Sports Saturday. A presentation of KSL Sports.
Left wing for three. He got it again!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here are your hosts, Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
BYU football fall camp rolls on. Here with BYU linebackers coach Justin Enna. And Coach, how would you, the scrimmage on Saturday, the 102 play scrimmage, what would be your assessment of how that played out maybe for the linebackers?
Yeah, I thought they did a pretty good job of playing assignment sound. They flew around. I thought the tackling with the ones and the twos did a pretty good job, because that's always your biggest concern is just live tackle drills. And they stepped in there and they played well. I thought they brought their hips, ran their feet, and made those tackles. We still got to be a little bit more assignment sound, and then also understanding like the little intricacies that makes a really good football player great. And I think they're starting to understand that a little bit more, but it's still making sure they're watching the reps and learning not only from their mistakes, but the guys in front of them.
When you say brought their hips and feet, what do you mean by that?
I think it's just bringing the power behind them, right? There's a lot of guys that will wrap up and then they get dragged for another 3 or 4 yards. The trick is to hit, drive through, and try to drive for 2 or 3 extra steps before honestly your momentum or the ball carrier kind of make you fall off or drip off a little bit. But you should be able to drive back and drive your hips through and keep your momentum. And there's a lot of younger guys that will run and then trying to lunge their body. You have to run through them in order to bring them down, and especially not give up the yards. Did
the defensive staff feel like you guys came away victorious on the defense side and got the edge over A-Rod's offense?
No. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good stalemate. I think the offense scored a couple touchdowns, and that's a couple too many for us to say an outright win. So, but I thought the guys competed well. I think we're becoming more disciplined. We still got to make sure that we still focus on what's most important, and I think that's just becoming a better player individually and then collectively.
How do you feel like this linebacker unit's coming together after obviously Ben Bywater had to medically retire, and that was a real bummer for Ben. I know he was a key piece for you guys in the early part of last year, but how do you think this group's shaping out without Ben?
I think they're doing a pretty good job. I think what Ben brought, especially during this offseason, was great leadership and accountability. They would go up to – Ben has a family cabin, and they would go up there. I think they went up once or twice and just kind of hung out. And I thought Ben brought and taught a lot of leadership to these younger guys. And him being the only senior coming back of last year, he was able just to show them, hey, this is what it's all about. And I think he was passing the torch even before we all knew it.
Do you think that he's going to still be around the team, as he said, at all? I know it's probably a tough deal, but does he want to still be around?
No, he said he wants to come around a little bit more often and try to figure it all out. But then it's also one of those things where it would hurt your heart. And we've told him as much as he wants to come around. And I asked him, please, as much as you can come around and be that leader and show these guys and teach them and be another set of eyes, just like it, because he is a coach, and just get on top of this. That's what we need.
Kalani's talked a lot about how he's not really worried about the starting 11. He just wants players that are capable of starting. How many guys do you feel like could be starter-worthy players at linebacker in the Big 12 Conference for you right now?
I'm probably about 6 or 7 right now. I feel really good with a few of these younger guys that have stepped in, and it'll be fun to see them progress and, of course, make more plays, be a little bit more accountable, and then really understand the defensive holistically. I think they still kind of see where they need to be, but I would love to see where everybody should be and try to set the fronts where they need to, make sure the back end's doing what they need to as well. But I probably have 4 or 5 guys that I feel comfortable with. I think I need 6 or 7, maybe even 8 guys that I think they can step up and kind of take that approach.
Is Jack Kelly comfortably in that 4 to 5 range?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Jack is just a phenomenal athlete. He's a great kid. He's a student of the game. Not a very loud or vocal kid, but he speaks out on the field with his play. So does a really tremendous job. And just a really good leader and a really just a pleasant kid to be on our team.
How's Harrison Taggart progressed? And I asked, with the max spot and Ben, that kind of opening up, how's Harrison progressing in year 2 in this system?
Harry's done such a great job. And even from spring ball to this fall camp has been dramatic. He's done such a good job of focusing on the things that we really needed him to work on and critique. He's flipped and done a 180 with a lot of these things. I mean, you don't see a ton of him biting up on play action. He's starting to see it all. His eyes are starting to get a little bit better. He's starting to see the routes progress behind him. And he could be a wrecking crew, a one-man wrecking crew, just how he is, because he's a little ball of energy that just flies around and tries to hit things.
It feels like his personality's coming out a little bit more. Like, just you can sense that comfort in this program. He's finding his place, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, and the cool thing I'm talking about, I mean, besides Jack going to be a junior, a lot of these guys are sophomores and freshmen. So a lot of underclassmen. I think that the two, or actually I have 3 juniors. I have Sione Moa, Jack Kelly, and then Che. And those are the only 3. The rest of the guys are all underclassmen. So I'm excited to see Harry's sophomore year of, just like you said, just coming to fruition and understanding, hey, I'm that guy and I can be relied on.
Che, you bring him up. What have been your impressions of him? We obviously didn't see him in spring. It was a post-spring edition. What's your thoughts on Che Bryant-Strother, what he's capable of?
Che has all the abilities. So Che's very long, very athletic, just still learning a little of the nuances of this defense, right? And it's going to take some time. This is, for linebackers, you have to know most of all the checks and all those things that come with it. And he's close to being there, but as we keep on adding more defenses, I think sometimes he just kind of gets flooded with, what am I doing here? And then he'll kind of brain fart every once in a while. And it's going to happen, right? And so he's drinking out of a fire hose. Soon that fire hose is going to shut off, and he's going to be able to collect all his thoughts and ideas. And again, with his ability, with his length, the sky's the limit for him. But I like what he's bringing. I'm yelling at him quite a bit right now, but I'm telling you, I love to see him keep on progressing, and he's doing a good job.
Curious to get your thoughts on what went into the thinking to have Ice Moa go to the Sam linebacker spot from OE, that defensive end. He looks a little bit leaner.
Yeah, Ice has cut down about 20 pounds, 15 to 20 pounds, and he's running way better. He's been running a little bit with the 2s, so whether we put him at the Sam backer or the Rover backer, the kid's probably a natural Mac backer too as well. The kid is very smart, so Ice is a smart football player, and for me to throw all these things at him, and he made this transition right after spring ball. So, and the nice thing is he also has a coach in his house, which is his brother. Sione is right on top of it, and Sione is a really, really smart kid. And so I didn't think Ice was as smart. Ice is just as smart. So he's picking up the game very, very fast. Linebacker play has been awesome, and we'll probably see him quite a bit this year too.
Last thing for you, Coach, and I appreciate the time. Isaiah Glasker, I wanted to just maybe get an update on him. I remember talking about him with you in first spring you were here in 2023, and it feels like last year you got a little bit banged up. I think it was the Arkansas game. Yep. Just where's maybe seeing growth in Isaiah this year in camp?
Glasker has grown mentally, but physically. I mean, the kid's about 238, 239, and I'm trying to get him up to about 245, just to put a little armor on it, because he is 6'5". Yeah. The kid is probably one of the best athletes I've ever coached. Now it's just making sure that he can reach that potential. The kid is he's a special football player. And I'm excited to see what he can do. Now he just got to start understanding and believing in what he is. And the sky's the limit for him. I'm excited about him.
We could keep talking. I mean, there's Ace Kafus. There's so many guys. It's a good linebacker unit, Coach, and it's a good problem for you to have. And best of luck this season, and look forward to seeing this linebacker unit come together.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Thank you.
Good stuff, Mitch. That was earlier in the week, Mitch Harper and Justin Enna. High praise for Isaiah Glasker. He's always had and I mean this in a positive way, an intimidating frame.
Yes.
He is a big, rangy
6'5"
athlete. If he can become even Alani Fua, I mean, obviously this is no disrespect to Alani, but you'd love for him to become a Fred or a KVM, but if he even is Alani Fua, that's a really high-end college linebacker.
My projected starters right now, Glasker at the Rover spot. And Rover can be a little bit of that safety linebacker. Think Fred Warner. that rover spot where you can do a lot of different things. And that's where Glasker's body type, the uniqueness of it, being a former wide receiver, being a former safety, that works in that spot at the rover. Sam, I've got Jack Kelly as the starter at Sam, and then at the Mike, Harrison Taggart, first-team linebacker. But as you heard, there are guys ready to pounce and step into that starting unit and rotate if need be. They feel like they've got about 7 starters, and I think that's a good problem to have after losing Ben Bywater. And we were talking a little bit earlier today. That position, you would feel even better with Ben, but I think that they just got to get a little bit more proven, a little more snaps. This position should be a strength of BYU's team. I really believe this is going to be a good group.
I think this group, too, needs to contribute in pressuring the quarterback. In years past, some of the best linebacker-led teams for BYU's defense have been involved in getting after the quarterback. I loved what Kelly Popinga said yesterday to the media regarding getting after the quarterback, and the linebackers play a role in this.
How we've always looked at it is in a game, we want to hit the quarterback 10 times. So if we're hitting the quarterback 10 times in a game, that's either we're sacking them or hitting them. A combination.
Off his feet.
He is getting hit. Yeah, he is getting hit. That's a really good game. So that's probably the best metric of affecting the quarterback that we use. And it's pretty crazy. In the 5 games that we won last year, we hit that mark every time.
5-1 last year. And I'm going to keep track of that, I think, this year to help. Because you get caught up in sacks.
Yes.
Sacks are important. I think the Elisa Tuiaki route where he just poo-pooed on sacks is not the right way to do it. But I want to keep track of how often these guys are hitting the quarterbacks, because if you're making them uncomfortable, it's going to lead to turnovers. And I don't think it's a surprise that those games that they won, they were making things difficult.
That Arkansas game was the first that comes to mind. That fourth quarter, they were brilliant at stopping KJ Jefferson and making those big plays and making things uneasy for KJ Jefferson. It feels like far too often we've seen these quarterbacks, many of whom just no-name QBs, just letting it fly all over the yard against BYU because they're so comfortable back there. And that's including Jay Hill's defense last year, and Elisa, and the whole Kalani tenure. There are far too many instances of quarterbacks that just step in, first start, and they look brilliant. Or some young guy, Rocco Beck last year against Iowa State. I mean, I claim, and he had a 3,000-yard year. He was really good. He's going to be good for Iowa State. But his Big 12 Newcomer of the Year award probably was given because of that BYU game. He just shredded BYU. But I digress. I think that position, linebacker and that pass rush, they have got to generate some pressure. It has to happen this year. Because that's another piece where you need to see growth. You need to see growth in the wins. You need to see growth at the quarterback. You need to see growth at that generating havoc, generating a pass rush. BYU needs it this year. It's critical if they're going to get back to the postseason, Matt.
Taking a break. You can text us as well, 57500. What fall camp questions do you have? What insights would you like to hear from fall camp? You can let us know, 57500. We'll keep talking football here in hour number 1 because, hey, Mitch, it's 2 weeks until game day. Cannot wait. Taking the break.